What's up, my family? Listen, first-time listener, or you've been here the whole damn time. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, giddy up, let's go, no notes.
That's my baby.
I'm dying.
That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
Slap.
What the hell was that?
Oh, yeah!
What the f*** are you talking about?
What the are you talking about? Well, let me tell you what we're talking about. This is Vetted on A2D Radio. We're in the house once more. And again, I'm Irving Fryar. It's my co-host, Hollis Big Dog Thomas. Welcome, everybody. We got to reroute the bot. Big Dog, you've been hanging out at a place called Royal Billiards and Recreation, man. They say it's a really nice place. Tell the folk about it.
Yes, Royal Billiards and Recreation. I had the pleasure of hanging out with one of the coolest staffs known to men. They have this place is one of the coolest places for all of your game room and man cave toys. I call them toys because there's pool tables, there's cards, there's shuffleboards, there's billiard accessories, there's dartboards and dartboard supplies, there's bars and bar stools, and I know it's hot outside, but sometimes you need some therapeutic hot, and they know how to make it hot. They have a nice selection of hot tubs. It's a family-owned business that's been probably been one of the most baller-ass places for all of your fine toys for homes and offices for the over 41 years. And if you want to get in touch with them, you could go right into Royal Billiards. It's Royal Billiards and Recreation itself in Comar, Pennsylvania, or you could go to royalbilliards.com. You tell them you heard it here, and the tech sent you to have a nice big balling ass time. And tell them don't fudge on the hot tub either. That I didn't learn about the hot tub till it was damn near time for me to go. So thanks a lot. I'll be back though.
Well, how is it you keep finding these baller butt places? I'm saying like you find these baller butt places.
Well, it's like that. It was like they apparently. They've been in business for 41 years. It's a real nice establishment. I got to meet Audrey and Marty. What's up, Marty? Marty, they had a little French bulldog that was following me around. He became my buddy. I'll be back to see him. You know, we going back there because we're gonna do a show from there. But dude, they have every like they had this one chair that I call it a throne. It was fit for a tank. So it's like
for a tank. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
But they have like everything that you want as far as your man cave needs, or just if you're just a giant kid. Because I was playing video games, I was throwing darts, I was shooting a little bit of pool, I learned how to play shuffleboard. A little bit of shuffleboard is actually a fairly easy game to play, and it's kind of cynical too, because you knock the other guys off the table and you can gain more points. So I enjoyed that. It was pretty cool, and I thank them for welcoming me out there and having me. Next time, have some lunch though. Lunch.
You're just a likable guy, man. You keep finding these places. Listen, our agree to disagree statement today is that DeAndre Swift will rush for over 100 yards this week against the Patriots. Do you agree or do you disagree? Come on, throw it in the comments, y'all. We have a great guest, as you've already probably know. Mm-hmm. We're not going to hold back anymore because we want him to be on as long as possible today. Yes. Bring him in the room, Ralph, the great, none other than Ron Jaworski, Philadelphia's beloved, 15 years in the NFL, second round draft choice, 1973. The Rams played the Rams, the Eagles, the Dolphins, the Chiefs, Eagles Hall of Famer. Yes. And former ESPN analyst, none other than Ron Jaws Jaworski. What's going on, Jaws?
Hollis, great to be with you guys. Hey, and by the way, save my number. I want to do this again. I always love being around you guys. And, whatever we're doing, usually at the golf course, or something like that. One of those good things we do. Hey, good luck with the show. Great to be with you guys. Be happy to join anytime you need some help.
Thanks, brother. Listen, I want to thank you before we get started. I want to thank you for letting us play at your golf courses, man. Christine, I love, I try to respect the space. I make reservations instead of just some guys just show up. Well, I'm a former player. Let me play. No, I make reservations, but man, and you always somehow, some way seem to show up every now and then, man. you're just on point with all of that, man. You're very
check
personable.
I'm checking out your game. I know Hollis's game, not very good.
Yes. Well, that's what I was gonna say. I enjoy his clubhouse. They allowed me to turn on. Maury and Jerry Springer while I was in there. They have this is another place that has a ball and that spread to find vittles. Right? He's not pushing on the vittles, and I've driven this course a bunch of times, so I know.
And that's not with a driver. That's with a cart. That's not with a driver and a ball.
All of his carts are in pristine condition.
I also want to thank you guys too. For years now, you guys have been supporting my golf tournament. My foundation has raised over $7 million for at-risk kids in the community. The golf tournament is a big fundraiser, and because of guys like yourself, Irving House, people pay extra to play with you guys. So,
all right,
we can raise some money for the at-risk kids in our communities.
Good.
Well, since you mentioned it, I was going to mention it before we let you go, but since you mentioned it, Jaws Youth Playbook, talk about your charity and talk about how people can assist and be there for those young kids. You do a lot of work for the kids in the Philadelphia area.
I can't thank this community enough for helping me raise money for the kids. I reach out to all my friends, former athletes. I mean, I've had everybody here from Tom Brady to Charles Barkley to Jim Kelly to Joe. The list goes on and on and on. You guys have seen through the years of the guys that we've had at this golf tournament, and they all share the same values that we share. We were fortunate to play pro football for a lot of years. We're in the public eye, and we also there's a lot of people out there that need help. And we have, I've always found, I know you guys feel the same way. Giving back it's easy. It really is. When you see these kids and realize the help they need, I give away hundreds of bikes at Christmas, and I personally am there. I first of all I ask people for money so we can buy the bikes and build them, but I'm going to give them away because I want I want to get excited about when I go ask people for money. I say, you guys got to come and help us build the bikes. And Irv, you were there. You know what it's like.
Right.
These young boys and girls come in and they got a big old bike there, and we got food, and we got pizza, and we got sodas and everything, and it's a party for these kids, and we can't do without people supporting us. I'm deeply indebted to this community and guys like yourself that always show up and help me out.
So, Jaws, this year I want to come help put the bikes together. I helped give them away last year, but I want to come help put them together this year because I know it's tedious. You got a lot of people working for you, but I want to be a part of that because I kind of like tinkering a little bit.
Oh, I know. You told us last year when we were building that you were coming back, so I got you on the list. Don't worry.
Okay.
As long as you got some food, I'll come and watch you guys build.
Come watch us.
Well, we don't want any lawsuits because the bike fell apart because I was eating a sandwich trying to put the wheel on.
Hey, that's why I don't build them anymore, Hollis.
So, Jaws,
very mechanical.
we brought you on today because this is right before actually the NFL game season starts tonight. And this is the start of the season for the Eagles here coming this Sunday against the Patriots in New England. So we wanted to have you on first to start this season off. Have you ever, you've been around for quite some time now in the Philadelphia area, have you ever seen Philadelphia Eagles fans this excited about an upcoming season?
Yeah, I think they're always excited, but I think when people realize what a talented football team this is, and we played the game a long time. We don't want to talk about our years as playing, but you get a feel for what a team is like. And we saw it last year how this team grew as a unit, offensively, defensively, and we need some help on special teams, especially our punter guy. When we get that, when's the last time we talked about a punter when we're talking?
He's a problem, though.
Problem. I agree with you. It's a problem.
Yeah, but Jaws, when the kick in the Super Bowl is errant and it causes a big time return.
That's it.
You have to talk about him. Yeah,
grab up. But since Hollis, I'm talking to you. This may be the best defensive line that I've seen. I'm not talking about one player, two players, or
about depth.
But you take this group together, and the rookies that you throw Jalen there, Nolan Smith. You look at talent. And I prepare for the draft. I study these guys. I talk to coaches. I talk to GMs. I mean, we got 2 top 5 players in this draft. Two top, and you combine that with the wily old veterans that we have. Man, I tell you, this defensive line. I think there's some questions at linebacker and safety, but the eraser is going to be the defensive line because you're not going to have a whole lot of time to throw.
Yeah. Then tell me this, Jaws, is so when you think of the defense, like when I look at this defensive line, when we were healthy, we had this, but this is different. These guys are actually healthy. And the only time, I wanted to know this from you, the season that you guys came up when you guys went to the Super Bowl. Now, the season that when I was on the team and we went to the Super Bowl, it was so much excitement. As soon as we got T.O., it was so much excitement. And then we were expected to make the Super Bowl. The year y'all went, was it this much excitement or more?
Yeah, it wasn't as exciting because I think that this team came really on strong last year. Obviously, a playoff team 2 years ago, but the hot start, the A.J. Browns of the world. I mean, you see this receiving core, and Irv knows better than anybody, man. You go, who are you going to double out there? Oh, by the way, throw in the tight end Dallas Goedert, top 3 tight end.
They get another one too.
And I know you guys got a question: is that DeAndre Swift is going to get 100 yards? He might get 100 yards as a receiver. I thought it was a tremendous acquisition in the offseason.
Yeah,
it'll be a running the ball by committee. We have 4 solid running backs. DeAndre Swift coming out of the backfield can be a real pain in the butt for a defense because you can start going deep on our speedy wide receivers, our speedy tight end. Now we get a back coming out of the backfield. You're going to get those matchups on linebackers. I think he's going to make a huge difference in the passing game as well as the running game.
Now tell me. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, big dog. Go.
Okay. So tell me this, Joe. And Bill Belichick has been known to be a quality defense.
You can't get him to say Belichick. He says Belichick. He don't call him Belichick.
Because a lot of people do. Irv.
When I interviewed the great Don Shula said that was his name, Bill Belichick.
Okay.
Now, given over the years of him being a good coach, he always would come up with different schemes to, slow down offenses. I feel like when the question of the day was he going to get 100 yards? I feel it's going to be like 100 yards by committee, like you were saying, man. But at receiver, because of what I think he's going to have to do, and we haven't mentioned the acquisition that we got, the other 6'7" tight end that we got. I don't know if you saw him in preseason from at Denver. He's got hands like glue, and he can block like nobody's business.
Well,
and he's 6'7". Exactly.
I haven't worked on his name hard enough yet. I'll have it by Sunday when I start doing my shows. But I call him Big O right now.
Yes.
Like for Oscar Robertson too.
Yeah. Right.
But what do you think? What do you think is how do you think we're going to be able to break down given what Belichick does as far as like his schemes? Because go ahead.
I was going to say I'm really excited about Monday after the game because I'm sitting in my office right now at home, and behind me is this big large screen TV, and 2 hours after the game I'll have the coaching tape, the all 22.
Oh, nice.
Bill Belichick, hey, whatever you dislike him, love him, hate him, whatever. I mean, the guy knows how to coach.
Right.
And when I was playing quarterback for the Eagles, he was the defensive coordinator for the New York Football Giants. Parcells. So I kind of had the firsthand knowledge of preparing for a Parcells-Belichick defense, and you really don't know what they did until you really glean the tape and look at it. It kind of looks the same, but all of a sudden, Irv, like there'll be an inside shade in a wide receiver rather than outside. They'll play your release. They do those little nuanced things that you just don't see with the naked eye. That's why, as I'm watching the game, it's hard to pick up the things they do. Some things are obvious, blitz zone, man, those sorts of things, stunts up front, Hollis know about. But to really get an idea of what they did intellectually, and Bill Belichick is a great designer.
Yeah.
He's a great schemer. I've had this conversation with Peyton Manning because those were great battles when the Colts played Bill. So it's the nuances that he had that really create problems for you offensively.
Hey, John, before we do this commercial, the one thing that I will tell you is when they played 3-4 all year long, the year we played them in the Super Bowl, guess what they started the game with? 4-man front, 4 down linemen.
Yeah, you never know what to expect. Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I was like, you never know what to expect from them.
And even now, they don't play base defense anymore. Everyone's playing nickel and dime.
Everybody's playing nickel and dime. Yeah.
And by the way, as I say that, I'm thinking you better be deep in the secondary.
Yeah.
Right.
The coaches I've talked to in the offseason about their preparation, what they're doing, because the rules have changed so much. Irv, you may have 200 catches a year if you're playing.
Boy, I wish I was around. I wish I was a little bit younger.
You can't touch anybody,
Yeah, man.
It'd be great.
Yeah. Listen, we got to pause for a commercial. We'll be right back. Hold on a second, y'all. All right, we'll be right back.
Damn, Skippy.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, proudly celebrating 40 years and our new, bigger showroom.
Twice the size and twice the fun.
More pool tables by Olhausen. More dartboard sets, including custom reclaimed backboards. More bar and kitchen stools that can change a room.
And more bars, including pre-built and custom.
Hot tubs, skee ball, shuffleboard, outdoor,
and fun.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, your ultimate game room store. Now located on Bethlehem Pike in Colmar.
All right, we're back.
Hold on, I was laughing because I know all.
You're also freezing. You're also frozen. You must have laughed too hard.
Yeah.
So Jaws,
broke his computer, Irv.
yeah. So we'll keep going till he unfreezes. So Jaws, you mentioned it earlier, and you've been around some of the great ones. I mean, you threw the ball to Harold Carmichael. You threw the ball to Mike Quick. Those guys were kind of ahead of their time. Where do you place this duo that we have as wide receivers here in Philadelphia, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith? Where do you rank them among the top duos in the league?
Well, they have a chance to be the top duo. Now, hey, that's saying a lot. There are a lot of great wide receivers and teams that have multiple great wide receivers. And the game is now, it's a throw ball game. People dropping back and throwing the ball. But, you look at the speed, the ability. What I like about AJ Brown, they're really two different receivers. You got speed, and then you got good speed and combat catches, and that's what AJ Brown does. I mean, I've never seen a guy. I probably have to go really study hard to find as many guys that catches those combat catches, those 50-50 balls.
Right.
He just has an incredible knack for doing it. The catch in the Super Bowl was, it's an unbelievable catch. People say it's luck. Hell no, that guy was doing that all year.
Right. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
I like you call that the combat catch, because everybody called it the 50-50 ball. The combat catch is one of the things that I love that AJ Brown does, and I think the best one to describe the combat catch was the one against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But he did get a penalty for taunting. He's like, no.
But what makes it even more impressive, those kind of catches that he makes, is when you look at, and I'm sure you see it on the film, Jaws, when you look at him down the field, he's not open. And Jalen can see him down the field and he's not open, but Jalen throws the ball to him anyway, having confidence that AJ Brown's going to come down with it or nobody's going to catch it.
Throw him open. It's your term you hear all over the league, not only here in Philadelphia. And when you got a quarterback that trusts a wide receiver and he's covered, you put the ball in the spot where only he can catch it. And that rapport developed now with Jalen Hurts, and all the wide receivers really got strong as the season wore on. I expect it to be better. I was out of training camp a number of times this preseason. I'll tell you, the offense looks absolutely phenomenal. It's going to be a very, very difficult offense to stop. No doubt in my mind, it's going to be one of the top offenses in the NFL.
Well, Charles, do you think that the offense will hit the ground running against the Patriots, given the fact that, they do things differently now in training camp? Jalen Hurts has not played one down during preseason. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, they haven't played one down in preseason. Swift played a little bit in the first game, but most of those guys, they haven't played any at all in the preseason. So
I get it. I don't like it. Doesn't mean I have, because they do it. Doesn't mean I have to like it. I've always kind of felt, just me personally speaking, I like to get hit a couple times in training camp, in preseason. It's different game tempo as training camp or scrimmages. It's different. I don't know how to explain it. Probably the three of us together could probably come up with some great explanation because we played, but it's different when it's real.
Right.
And I'll give you an interesting nugget too as well. Last year, there were 11 quarterbacks that started in the first game, and they didn't play in the preseason.
Okay.
11. You know what their record was?
What's that?
3-8.
3-8. They didn't play in the preseason. Their first game was the opening game, and it's a telling stat. And again, it just tells me. I think it says, okay, your quarterback needs to get a little bit of work in the preseason, not just training camp, but get some live game combat.
Right.
Yeah, because we've talked about this before, and when they talk about how a player flourishes in practice, well, everybody could be all Tandy or all Eagles practice field on Wednesday and Thursday. But when there's what I call clear and present danger, that means the other team they don't give a damn about you. It's as a teammate, I don't want to hurt you because you give us the best opportunity to win.
Yeah.
So, but when somebody else don't give a damn about what's going on for the rest of our season, it's like you guys said, it's a whole different animal. And especially, and I was kind of miffed at the Quez Watkins not being out there, because
right.
I think that's a false sense of security that, I feel like he needed some live reps to make sure that he was going to be ready for this year.
Yeah, I agree totally. I agree totally. But the game has changed. It's different than when we played, guys. A lot different. 3 preseason games. Hell, they didn't even wear pads anymore. I went to practice. I went to practice one morning, and about an hour and 10 minutes in, Nick brought the team together. I thought they were like taking a break and going back.
And they were done.
They were done.
They were done. Yeah, yeah.
For real, that was warm up an hour and a half. You're warm up.
Right. And you're talking an hour and 10 minutes. That's with warm up and everything. Hour and 10 minutes, they're done. Yeah, that's.
I think I was with Quickie. I said, "Where are they going?" He goes, "They're done." I said, "They're done."
Well, Joe, don't be mad. It was the first time that I seen it. I was like, "Where the hell are they going?" they played like 6 or 7 songs, and then they went inside. I was like, "Man, that was a total jip."
That's right.
Well, guys were excited. I never been excited to go to training camp. When you were listening to some of the interviews before training camp, guys on their way into training camp, they were excited about being in training camp. I don't know about you, but I've never been excited about going to training camp. I'm just trying to get through training camp.
We stayed in dorms.
Right.
High-paid NFL
yes, sir.
Quarterbacks, wide receivers, defensive linemen. You're carrying your TV and your air conditioner into your room. I'm going, come on.
Yep.
Come on.
Trying to make it as much as like home as possible.
And they're taking the 2 twin beds to push them together with a thing down the middle to try to make you a full-size bed.
Yeah. Double days. We played 6 preseason games.
Right. Yeah.
One year we got the 7th preseason game, which was the Hall of Fame game.
Wow.
Oh God.
You would have thought when the schedule came out for Dick, it was Christmas. We got an extra week to practice.
Oh God.
Vermeil was excited.
Hey, Jaws,
we got an extra week to practice.
But Jaws, did you guys ever get a bye week during that preseason?
Hell no.
And we had a bye week during the preseason, but just remember, it was the first year that Sean Payton was a head coach.
A bye week in the preseason?
No, but remember, the first year that Sean Payton is a head coach, it was, and we were in Millsap in Mississippi, 100 degrees, a full week with nothing to look forward to, but 3. He was practicing us 2.5 to 3 hours a day.
Wow.
And I have never, everybody knows this about me that played with me in New Orleans. He said after the practice one on the first day, after a full gear, he said, "All right, on the line." I said, "For what?" We ran. We did. That was the first time I had air conditioning since I had been in the NFL. With the entire team like that, other than the conditioning test. And I got one other one for you. Guess what the conditioning test was? 3 300-yard shuttles.
300 yards?
That's
shuttles,
a lot.
yes.
That's a lot.
Do it. So it's like a gasser. They did it as a gasser and a half. It was brutal.
Dan Marino never would have ran any of that.
No, hell no. They didn't bring in striders after practice. It shrews hell with that stuff.
So, Jaws, everybody's convinced now, I believe, that Jalen Hurts is the man. Everybody going into last season, they had doubts. They didn't know what was going to happen. He proved everybody wrong that doubted he could run this team and run it at a level that we've hardly ever seen before. How good, in your opinion, how good can Jalen be?
Well, he's gotten better every year, and I think that's what you look for in a quarterback or any player, that incremental growth. You don't plateau early and stay flat for games or a season. And I was one of those guys that questioned Jalen Hurts after his performance in the Tampa game, 2 years ago in the playoffs. And I love Jalen Hurts. I think the guy's a great player. I'm just not going to be like Joe fan and anoint the guy the quarterback for the next game. Yeah. He played poorly in that Tampa game. He missed reads. He missed throws. And I wasn't going to just say, "Oh, that's our guy." I wanted to see more, because you know what happens to some guys. They have a bad game, they're done. They're done. They are never the same guy. They're not even looking downfield. They become check down Charlies, because they're afraid to make those throws.
Right.
Yeah.
So he comes back the next year. He came off a tough playoff loss. It didn't affect him at all. He came out. He was making the tough throws. He was challenging himself to make the tough throws. That was forgotten. And I think the other thing that separates him, and we're more privy to the guys on the team and people in the organization. He is the first guy in and the last guy out. Through the years, we hear that bullshit, guys. Let's get real here.
Right.
This guy's the first guy in. What do you mean? He's showing up about 5 minutes before the meeting. He's the last guy out. He's out getting a cold beer down the street. That's BS. The players know who the first guy in and the last guy out. And Jalen Hurts, you can talk to any of those guys. They will tell you that. He's the hardest working guy on the team. And when your best players are the hardest workers, that's when you have a Super Bowl team.
Yes. Big Dog, you got something else? I got plenty of questions.
Well, I was going to ask him, how did you prepare for Lawrence Taylor? Yeah.
No,
that's a good question.
I learned how to look this way. It's like if you want an LT story, I'll give you an LT story. Buddy Ryan,
LT story.
Yeah, it's Buddy Ryan, great defensive coordinator. He becomes our head coach in '86, and I think it was like week 2 or 3. We played the Giants. And we get in the meeting, and Ted Plum, our offense coordinator, is putting the pregame plan up on the board. He's how we're going to block Lawrence Taylor, and we didn't have a tight end over there, and we had Keith Byers, and Keith Byers was a rookie.
Right.
And
wow.
I said to Buddy Ted both. I said, yeah, we kind of learned over the last 5 years, put a tight end over there, or keep it back in over the chip. No, we got Keith Byers. I've seen him in Ohio State. He'll get him covered. We don't even worry about that. I think he had like 4 sacks in the game, caused the fumble. We got our ass. So we get the Giants like 4 weeks later for the second time. They come in the meeting, Buddy and Ted Plum, the coordinator, are looking around and go, okay, now you got LT. We're going to slide the line to him. We're going to keep I said, I told you that a month ago. I've been playing against this guy for 5 years. These broken ribs, all these scars on my body. He was unblockable, guys. He was unblockable. He was that good.
Wow. Is he one of the ones? You wrote a book, The Games That Changed the Game.
7 games.
Talking about 7 different games that changed the tactics and the strategies in the NFL. Is he one of those cats in one of those games?
As just like I said, you had to game plan for him. You didn't game plan for the Giants defense. They were always good. That was a Belichick, Parcells. They drafted Carl Banks, and they had really, really good players. But the guy that was a linchpin for that defense was Lawrence Taylor, and you had to know where he was. I came out of the huddle looking to that side.
You look like you had a flashback just then. You look like you had a flashback.
You start trying to flinch a little bit here, yeah. But then as time went on, also they moved them, over the center. Right. And the happiest time I was when we played him, when he dropped into coverage.
Oh my God, yeah.
When the game was over.
When the game was over. Yeah.
So, Jaws, what do the Eagles have to make sure they do to start this season off right, 1-0 against the Patriots, in your opinion?
I think that the most important thing is remain consistent, and that was the thing that showed up last year. They were consistent week in and week out. Mm-hmm. They overcame some injuries, but they were healthy last year.
Right.
And, the schedule's tougher this year. I think they're a team that's targeted. It's always a little bit different because when you're the targeted team, they spend more time on you in the offseason, studying you, breaking you down. So they're going to get their opponent's best shot. Last year, probably the first half of the season, I think everyone's kind of surprised the Eagles were that good. They proved as the season went on. They were the best team in the NFL last year. They did not win the Super Bowl, but they were the best team. Now, that's not hoping this year. I still think they're the best team. But, hey, for me to say that, for you to think that, for Hollis to think that doesn't mean squat. You got to go on the field and do it. Because there's that big target on their chest right now. Everyone's circling that Eagles game. They're the best team in the NFC. Maybe the best team is, I think, in the National Football League. But that doesn't mean beans. You got to go on the field and do it. And you know what it's like, too, when you're winning and doing well. Everyone's patting you on the back, telling you how great you are, and you're the best. You guys are gonna run. Hey, I heard Jaws. I heard. Oh yeah, you guys won the Super Bowl. Oh, we're going to Vegas. Hey. That guys start believing that bull. They say, oh, you've been around guys like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Start believing the press clippings. That's where the coach comes in, man. You got to keep them grounded.
Now, me and one of your esteemed colleagues, Seth Joyner, we despised Jonathan Gannon like nobody's business. We would text each other during the game sometimes and wonder what the hell he was doing defensively. I get case in point. We played the Jets with Zach Wilson quarterbacking. At halftime, he was 12 of 14 with 2 touchdowns. what is the bend but don't break? It's like, and then you get into the biggest game of your life. And I would say, you know exactly what he was running? He was running 4-man rush, cover 5, and man under. The one thing you cannot do, and you should know this, is run man under against a mobile quarterback. Man under, everybody's back is turned. And if you rush 4, that's 4 against 5. All he has to do is find a single gap, and he's got 20-plus yards every time. It was the dumbest game plan I've ever seen in my life. And it was like we got on the biggest stage, and we was physically and athletically matched. But the person who was orchestrating our team defensively totally sucked ass.
Big dog, let
How
it
do
go.
you really feel now?
Let it go, big dog. You got to let it go, man. You got to let it go. Gannon is not here anymore.
Hey.
You have got to let it go. Woosah.
I refuse.
We got
You got to woosah, man.
Hollis, you realize, Seth and I play golf a lot together.
Yeah.
And I've heard this for 4.5 hours.
Thank you. But me and him text back and forth. So it was like the Jets game. I had the game on. It was like I had the game on, and I'm sitting down there. I was like, why are we not heating this young guy up? It's a young guy. You're supposed to send out. You're supposed to try to confuse him, or at least confuse the offensive line. We didn't in a Super Bowl. We did not even mug the center.
Now I played with Seth and with Buddy Ryan.
Yeah.
And he's brainwashed. Now, hey, because Buddy
No,
Ryan,
yeah. I know what you.
By the way, one of those games is Buddy Ryan's defense. Now, I not only played against a number of times, but I was with Buddy for a year. And I know he was maniacal with his blitzes. I don't think the guy slept drawing up blitzes.
He's maniacal. Wow.
Yeah, it was. But Giles, that's not what I'm saying. Sometimes you run zone pressures, and it seems like a blitz because you're tricking it. It's called organized chaos.
I'm not disputing it all. And
but
big dog, let it go, man. Gotta let it go. Let it go.
But Seth, and you now I find out if you don't blitz, that's not the way to play.
No. I said creativity. It's like you don't have to rush the same 4 guys up front all the time. We had the ability. We had a Hassan Reddick who could drop into coverage sometime. You could send a DB that get there faster. And it would trick the offensive line. If the offensive line know that the down 4 are coming each and every time and nobody else is coming.
I sure hope Sean Desai does something a little bit intricate this year. He's going to be some long shows.
I'm not sure. I watched his defense when he was in Chicago. It wasn't a very aggressive defense. It became a different defense when he went to Seattle because Pete Carroll basically ran the defense. So, but the connection was Vic Fangio was with Desai in Chicago. As we know, Vic last season spent the season basically working for the Eagles and scouting and watching other teams. And so I think he was there because Vic liked him, had him on the staff. But I haven't seen anything yet. And it's preseason. You don't show it. I'm not seeing anything different that I saw last year. So, but hey, you got Mac Jones. Yeah, still an inexperienced quarterback. I do want to see some heat on Sunday. I want some pressure schemes.
Yes.
Plus, they have a terrible offense. Their offense is.
Their offense.
They didn't score. They didn't score more than 20. They scored more than 23 points 3 times last year.
Tyrone Wheatley Jr. may have to play offensive tackle. You remember Tyrone Wheatley? He played running back. So Junior may have to play offensive tackle. I got my pigeons up later on. I had wrote my pigeons down for the guy. I had pigeons for the. You know what pigeons are, don't you, dog?
I'm not sure what the hell you're talking about.
Pigeons. As like as a defensive lineman, as I'm looking as playing in the interior, we got 3 guys there. One of those guys is the weakest link, and that's the pigeon. The pigeon. That's my bitch. That's my bitch.
The weak link.
That's the old Reggie White. In the first quarter, Reggie White would line up over each of the 5 offensive linemen. And he came back for that 6th series or one score, and he lined up over you. You're going to see him all day. He found his pigeon. Now I got it.
Well, see, Giles, what I used to do was I watched a lot of film, so I could see who the pigeon was, and a lot of times it's the center, and sometimes it's one of the guards that flinches too much and throws his inside. When you get a guard that's throwing his inside hand up too much, that's a quick slap over and swim and straight to the quarterback every time, baby.
Jaws, Before we let you go, man, thanks for being on. And I got your number, so we are going to have you back.
Yeah, I'll
on,
do
brother.
it again, man.
Thank
Love
you so much.
to have fun with
So,
you guys.
give us a prediction. Well, I want 2 predictions. 1, wins and losses for the Eagles this year. Number 2, what's the score going to be against the Patriots?
12-5 in the season. It's a really good football team. I don't have any doubt it's the best team, at least as we look at, say, on paper and performance based on last year. I think it's the best team in football. They will beat the Patriots. Week 1 is always tough. It's never given week 1 because no one shows anything. No one knows who's playing. I get a depth chart. I'm not sure, like, some of the positions right now. They don't give you anything. So you have to decode a lot as you go along. But I still got the Eagles winning 24-20.
Oh, they're only going to win by 4? Wow.
Mine, Jaws.
Okay. I think that's the line. I heard something about the line.
You're just going with the line.
Jaws, I had 30-20 birds because I feel like some people think that some of the starters will be sitting in the third quarter. This is a well coached New England team, and they have a real offensive coordinator now. So I feel like our guys are going to be playing throughout the game up until the middle of the fourth quarter at least. Yeah,
but Hollis, the old offense coordinator is now on our team, so we got some good insight there. You know, Matt Patricia, he coached that off not very well last year, but he coached it off.
Right, he was horrible last year as an offensive coordinator.
And he was also their defensive coordinator when they won their Super Bowl years, and before he went to Detroit.
But he was a better defensive coordinator than offensive.
That is correct.
Yes,
I don't know why the hell he went to offense.
I don't know. Kind of Juan Castillas-esque.
Does that mean Belichick's losing his marbles to make that kind of switch, to make that kind of decision, to take a defensive coordinator that's been a defensive coordinator?
I think everyone was surprised last year when he took a defensive guy his whole career and said, okay, you're going to run our offense. Well, that didn't work out so well.
Not at all.
Bill O'Brien is now back, who was probably the architect of Tom Brady's game.
Jaws, did we do the same thing with Juan Castillas? I'll wait.
Oh Lord, Jaws! thanks for being with us today, brother.
Listen, I love you guys, man. Thank you so much,
man. God bless you. We'll see you again. All right.
See you on the golf course.
Yes,
sir. Yes, sir.
Take care. Cafeteria.
Get to Hollis some lessons.
All right, y'all. The moment we've all been waiting for. You've seen it advertised. We're getting ready to have it. He's getting ready to get on the show, y'all. It's time for Dawk Talk. Stay tuned for an exciting new segment on Vetted, Dawk Talk, featuring Hall of Famer Brian Dawkins. Brought to you by Royal Billiard and Recreation. B-Dawk, there he is.
What's happening? What's happening?
That's my dog.
Man, look at here. Hollis, listen, Hollis, listen.
Yeah.
Please tell him, please. Tell him, please.
I agree with dog. You gotta let that ride.
Man. No, tell him, please.
You gotta let it ride.
No,
let it go.
Short memory. Memory.
Hey, dog. The only reason I didn't let it ride was because in an interview during the season, he said, I'm not going to change what I do. If you're giving up 8 to 13 play drives, talking about bend but don't break, that crap don't work, man. We had an explosive offense. And when we played against, the thing that ticks me off the most is playing against a team that's halfway decent and knows that we're going to play bend but don't break, and they have the testicle fortitude to just run and get that 3 yards in a cloud of dust. And then they go for it on fourth down and they get it because we playing bend but don't break. And
But he's gone. He's gone. He's not here anymore.
What I'm saying.
He's gone.
All of this extra energy you putting out, bro.
With nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let it ride.
Okay.
Let it ride.
Okay.
B-Dawk, thanks for being on, brother. We're going to do this every other week, man. Those of you who are watching right now, Brian will be on with us every other week here on A2D Radio, particularly our show, Vetted. That's where he's going to be doing this segment called Dawk Talk. Now, some of you may be expecting him to talk about football. Some of you may be expecting him not to talk about football, but it's called Dawk Talk. So it's whatever Dawk wants to talk about.
Okay.
All right. So, Dawk, I'm going to hand you the ball.
I just got one question, Dawk. It's just one question. I don't know if you even remember this. You remember with our rookie year when they put us on scout team for one day and we destroyed it and we were never allowed them.
Was I there? Wait a minute. Was I there?
You was there. You was there. But
Okay, what was I
That's how
doing?
we do
What was
it.
I doing?
You was well. See,
What was I doing?
Absolutely nothing. You couldn't do nothing.
What you mean?
We were the scout team,
And
we were creating havoc.
so who was covering me?
Nobody. You didn't have to cover
Exactly, because nobody could cover me. That's all I wanted to know. Y'all might have been doing what y'all were doing up there in the front, in the trenches, and all that kind of stuff. But out there on the outside, wasn't nothing happening over in my area as far as somebody covering me.
You know why nothing wasn't happening? Because we was all over the quarterback like Mike Tyson.
Well, you're probably right about that.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
You're probably right. Go ahead, Dawk.
Go ahead, Dawk.
Bro.
No, but first of all, I'm happy to be on with you gentlemen to come on and talk a little bit. And like Herb said, everybody who's watching, first of all, thank you for tuning in. And so we'll talk about some different things. We'll talk about different things, and it's a lot of it is from the mindset of us, myself, and how we see different things and applications. But the things that I'm going to be talking about the majority of the time is not always things about football. It will be football related, but there will be principles that will be placed in there for everybody to use some of it in your life. Maybe you can use all of it. Maybe one person can use all of it, but there's certain aspects of what we're going to talk about, I believe, is going to bless the heck out of you. And so as I thought about it, we talked about it, Irv, the thing that I would talk about for this first episode, it's when I'm
going to have Ralph give you the screen. Ralph, give him the screen. Let him have the whole screen.
Let him have the whole screen.
Yeah, give him the whole screen, Ralph. There you go.
So when you're coming off of what the Eagles have just come off of, and that's losing in the Super Bowl, so you've had a fantastic year, there's a lot of expectations put on you. And so how do you handle those expectations? What do you do with that? First of all, that loss. You know, one of the things that we all know about Irv and Tank, that one of the most important conversations for me was always after that last game when we did lose, is we have that conversation with the DB coach. For me, it was a DB coach. So the DB coach is telling me the things that I needed to get better at, the things that they saw on film that I needed to get better at. But I'm also watching film as well, because I want to get better to make sure that last year's outcome is different, and I'm a major part of that. So when you have people beginning to tell you how good you are and how good you could potentially be, that can literally get into your head and have you not go out and do the things you need to do by grinding. And you know what I'm talking about, grinding, getting better. Like, one of the things that people don't understand is when the off season comes, there is no off season for that person who really wants to get better. Like that person pours in, that person pushes himself. And in order for a person to get better physically, they have to kind of beat their body into shape, so to speak. So you're going to have to go through some pain. So pain, and some people don't want to do that. So, and this is a life thing as well. Sometimes we don't want to go through or grow through specific things to get stronger in, but that's what happens when we grow, when we go through these things. When we have that DB coach, Sean McDermott at one time, it was Leslie Frazier at one time. They're telling me these are the things I need to get better at. Do you think I didn't necessarily want to hear that, but I needed to hear it. I was welcome to hear it, and I went and worked my behind off on those things. But it's also, once again, things that I saw I needed to get better at. So for these individuals that are going into this first game with all of this hype talk about what they could potentially be, I'm hoping that each one of them look themselves in the mirror and recognize that the product that they put on the field, no matter what, you talk about the defensive coordinator, right? What part of my game that did not show up on that day,
right,
that allowed things to happen that should not have happened? So that's how I'm looking at the film. I'm being completely honest with myself about what I see on film. And so this is what I hope this team goes. Yes, you're hungry. Yes, you're excited. All of those things. But to be honest with you, there are probably 35, probably 5 teams that truly has a true shot at this thing. And the Eagles is one of those teams. Yeah. The Eagles is one of those teams. I'll stop there and we'll talk. We can.
Well, no. The funniest thing was when you said that.
Bring us back, Ralph.
Bring us back, Ralph. You remember, Docky, I don't know if you remember our rookie year or one of the years that we were playing together. That exact thing was said by Ray Rhodes. Like what you just said, he like literally, it's like everybody talks about wanting to make it to the Super Bowl, or want to make it to the playoffs. It's like legitimately, it's only a few teams that are going to be able to do be able to do what Dawk is saying, to get to the playoffs and possibly make it to the Super Bowl. It's like everybody else is false bravado. So the one thing that I did want to ask you is like, and some people may remember this play. It was you were quite the headhunter, and we were talking about friendly fire one day, and I brought up you remember the Detroit game when the coward Johnny Morton saw you and ducked, and you knocked Troy Vincent out. That's like. But
he wasn't the only one. I got Hugh one time as well. Yeah.
Oh, you got Hugh Douglas too?
Yeah.
Doc, you're dangerous.
And well, see, that's what I'm saying. It's like when you have guys like that, but you don't try to deter them from doing that, because for the time that I played with Doc, I always knew that the back end was covered. And then when I listened, I always knew what the call was and where I could and couldn't go, and I was always anticipating. If I saw a running back go out and I knew that was his coverage, he was going to yell out spike or nail, because if I was the defensive tackle on that side, that meant he wanted my B gap, so I would have to take his A gap. And I think a lot of times you don't get to see that among teams nowadays, because the community. I don't know if you guys pay attention as much as I pay attention. It's like the communication is not there. I don't see the communication. I don't see people bouncing things down the line. I don't see the defensive line. When you're SOL, that means stuck on the line. As you stuck on the line, you're supposed to get in the quarterback's view so you can tip the ball, not even knock it down. But if you tip the ball, you got ball hawks back there. They will turn it into something. I just don't see the communication. I felt like we had one of the best teams that communicated, because of the older guys, the older coaches that we had. They bounced it down the line and they let everybody know there's no secrets kept. We all are here to win. And once you get a defense like that, that's why I feel that's the only thing I feel like I don't really see anymore.
Yeah, and going down that same path, Hollis, and that's why for me the importance of this team, especially on defense, gelling as quickly as possible, is the thing that needs to happen. And you're not going to find out who you really are until you get into those games. Yes, practices are great, scrimmages are cool, but just like I know, when it happens in the game, and then guys make decisions in games sometimes that they don't make in practice. So sometimes those decisions aren't the right decisions to make. And then it's that person who looks at the film and is honest with what they see that can change what they need to change in order for the team to be better. But communication is huge. Matter of fact, if you're a quiet defense, you're a bad defense. If you're a quiet defense, you are a bad defense.
Listen, I don't know nothing about what none of y'all talking about, because I was on offense. Y'all can talk all that defense signals and squabble and TikTok and whatever it is y'all talking about. Listen, Doc, I wanted to say this, if I could add this on or trigger this thought in your mind about what you said earlier about moving towards the next season, moving into the next season, having obviously experienced what you've experienced in the previous season, and things may not have turned out the way you wanted them to turn out. But now I need to do what I need to do as I go into the next season to prepare to perform better. What you're saying also doesn't just apply to football, but I think what you're also trying to say is that's life, because we go through different seasons in life and we have to examine ourselves.
Yes.
Some seasons are good, some seasons are bad, but the Bible tells us we go from glory to glory, faith to faith. That means we're supposed to ascend and get better, ascend and go higher, ascend and do better. So as we go from one season to the next, we should be able to look back on the season prior and examine ourselves in areas in our lives that we need to improve. And some of us sometimes aren't willing to make those sacrifices or make that connection to do the things we need to do, whether it's loving people right, whether it's serving, whether it's giving, whether it's honoring God, whatever it is, we're not willing to do those things that will make our next season in our lives. And you can win in bad weather. Don't get me wrong. You can still win in bad weather. I've seen a lot of teams win when it was raining. Tony Dungy won the Super Bowl when it was raining all day long, the whole game. You can win in bad weather. But you have to prepare yourself and be willing to sacrifice and make the necessary changes in your life so that you can be successful from season to season.
And that's the thing about it. Recognize, first of all, that for everything there is a season, right? For everything there is a season. So there's a season for everything. But here's the thing about it. For those who won't do what you just talked about, won't look at their past mistakes and get better. They become repeat offenders. They create a mindset to continue to do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And that person who does the wrong thing over and over and over, that's why it kills me when I hear people say that hard work works. Right? Hard work works, right? No, hard work by itself does not work.
Does not work, no.
If you get coached up hard work, or someone, helping you out hard work, directed hard work, absolutely, that works. But if you're just working hard, like I can work hard doing the wrong thing and get good at doing the wrong thing, right?
There you go.
So that the principle of looking at yourself and being honest, this is what I want to say today. Be honest about what you see. Don't gloss over the things in your life that you know that you could have done better or should have done better and say, oh, and give yourself a pass. No, don't give yourself a pass. Be hard on yourself. Not so hard that you deter yourself from doing something going forward. But no, take that thing that you didn't do. I'm thinking about myself as a player now. Take that thing that you knew that you could have done better, and then create the plan for you to do something. Exercises, different there's different drills that I would do for specific things that I messed up during the season, so that I would do it so many times over the months that it became something automatic when I got to training camp. So this is what I'm talking about. Looking at and then taking those things, getting better, so that when you step on that doggone field, or when you step into your work, you're better. Why? Not just because you hope to be better. No, because you put in the work. You put in the work, directed work, coached up work to be better. Right.
And do it consistently over time. Like you said, it becomes second nature. Now you find yourself just doing it.
Yeah. That's like it. And when you saying that it's the some of the moves and stuff that they that we had to perfect as a defensive line. A lot of people don't know the footwork and stuff, and having to listen to Dawk and Trot for the calls and stuff. But if you're able to, like, I used to take notes. I don't know if anybody. I take notes like nobody's business, and I started taking them mainly because I need to know the integral parts. I need to anticipate things, and if you don't put in that extra work to be a part of something that could be great, then it's not going to come. It's not going to. It's like everybody always says, practice makes perfect. No, practicing the right way. That's the only way you're going to get there. And when Dawk was talking about doing those things over and over again, I can remember before I ever was able to perfect the spike move. It's because it's a different way you have to explain it to the defensive line. Because sometimes when you say spike, or when you say they think you mean slant. A spike is a gap exchange step. And it's a technical part of the defensive line that a lot of people don't do. If you slant, you're going to slant the whole line down, and it's going to cave it down, and it's going to create a cavity. Short corner. Exactly. Short corner, Dawk. It's like, but if you do what you're supposed to do is slant, and not slant, but take the flat step and come up. But I could not get that step for nothing. But I was practicing it over and over and over again. And guess what? The first time I got it. You remember we was playing against at RFK Stadium? You was there too, Irv. The very first series we were playing against the Washington Redskins. The very first play I was in there, I heard Zordich call spike. I went inside and I tackled whoever the running back was. He was wearing 21. I tackled him. That was my very first rookie play. And so when Dawkins is talking about the repetition of things that you didn't do well, and then also it was some other stuff where they had the defensive line, the defense tackles we have contained on some zone drops. And the way that they wanted you to do it is a specific footwork that you had to do to hit the B gap to make them think that you're going to be there, and then to get outside for contain, because they have what I like to call I call the defense everybody dies. The people was coming from the other way to make everybody die. So it's like and just to hear you talk about that, I thought I guess great minds think alike, man.
Absolutely.
Now we can put a whole defensive scheme together. B-Dawk, listen, thanks for being with us today on Dawk Talk, bro. We're not gonna hold you. We'll let you go, but thanks. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. All right.
No, I'm gonna see him next week. That's my. Yep. I'm at your fundraiser. I'll be there with bells on.
What fundraiser? I missed it. Where's it at? Here?
No, it's in Lancaster.
Lancaster.
Lancaster. The fundraiser stuff is
I might not be here.
Yeah, you know how you do.
I gotta work, man. Somebody gotta pay the bill.
Like I was undrafted. Dawk got drafted in the second round, but Dawk, we sitting here talking to a number 1 overall pick.
Yeah,
listen, I was already here when y'all got here.
First day dude. You know what I mean?
I know, but not only that, Dawk. when he got here with us, he was getting paid again, yet the third time. Not the first time, but the second time, the third time.
Let me give Irv some love before we get off. This last thing, I'm going to give Irv. So another thing that I would tell you about, so when you're looking for things to get better, right? What better way is to look at someone who's been doing it for a while, right? And then taking nuggets from them. Irv, you told me something my rookie year that I've used, and it's the reason why I look the way that I look, to be honest with you. You told me if you take care of your body now, it'll take care of you later.
Yes, sir.
I always remember that. I grabbed it from that rookie year, and I began to think differently about the things that I was doing, how I was approaching different aspects, eating, exercise, sleeping, all those things. And I began to be a student on, okay, how can I do all of these things better? How can I get better in all of this so that this body that the Lord has blessed me with would bless me later on when I need it to bless me, right? When you're playing, when you're young, you don't necessarily need it to recover, right? No. As you get a little older,
I was old when I told you that, bro. I was old.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
So a lot of people don't know, and I'm gonna tell them this right off the rip. Dawkins was one of the only ones who had enough gall to work out with me, because I used to lift the gym.
So that's the other thing. So when we talk, one of the reasons I got on with you two gentlemen, because both of you blessed me in different ways. I just talked about Irv from that perspective, and then Hollis from the other perspective. We call you Tank for a reason, right? And he was. And people don't believe me when I say this. I couldn't work out with the DBs. I lift too much weight. Right.
Yes,
so one of the persons that I would go lift with, if it wasn't trot, I would be lifting up, working out with Tank. So I appreciate you both for adding to my repertoire.
Well, y'all both lift too much. Y'all lift too much weight for me. I lift a lot, but I don't lift like y'all. Good Lord, Lord.
I still lift.
Yeah. I lift too. I lift my body. Anyway, love you, dog. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next couple weeks. All right.
Indeed.
Y'all, that was Dawk Talk. Yes, brought to you by Royal Billiards and Recreation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. Listen, let me read this before we get off.
Okay.
And then you can do your history, Hollis.
I got you covered, baby.
In 2018, the Eagles legend Brian Dawkins was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. To commemorate this moment, B-Dawk designed and launched an exclusive collaboration with Bowman Hat Company, America's oldest hat maker, on hats.com. Yes, Brian's love for hats and the Eagles were on proud display in Canton. And now you can find yourself in the same iconic Hall of Fame fedora. Yes, sir. Just go to hats.com and search Brian Dawkins and use the code Philly for 15% off on your order. Hats.com.
Don. As you can see, I'm sporting one of Don's fighters as well. I got a little history for you real quick, though.
Go ahead, brother. Take it over.
Today is, September the 7th, 2023. It's the 250th day of the year. And there's about 115 of these puppies remaining. Today's national holidays, Beer Lovers Day. It's also Salami Day.
Salami Day?
Yes.
That's those big things of meat?
Yeah. Pause. So it's also Superhuman Day. It's for people with disabilities that have defied, and overcome what everybody else said that they couldn't do with physical limitations.
Right.
It's Feel the Love Day as well, and it's National Neither Snow Nor Rain Day. It's a postal holiday.
It's September.
I know, but it's a postal holiday. That's what it's a postal holiday.
It's not supposed to snow or rain.
I know, but that's what the United States Post Office, rain, sleet, or snow.
Sleet, okay, I got you. All right.
And
so what if it actually rains or snows on the no rain or snow day?
They still deliver your mail, regardless. You still get your mail.
Is it still the no snow or rain day?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
No matter. So I got some bits here. 1813 was the very first time that the term Uncle Sam was first used by the U.S. to refer to the U.S. in the Troy Post of New York. 1916, the Workmen's Compensation Act was started. You get the workmen's compensation. 1921, in Atlantic City, New Jersey, the very first Miss America pageant. It was a 2-day event. 1954, the integration of schools in D.C. and Baltimore. The integration
today,
of schools.
1954.
1954.
That's not that long ago, man.
I know. 1963, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It opened up for the first time in Canton, Ohio. With it had like 17 charter members. I didn't care who it was, though. I guess the birthdays here. Today is Paul Brown's birthday. You notice it, I will give you the significance of Paul Brown. I'll do that another time. 1936, Buddy Holly. We have 1954, Corbin Dean Burnson. That's Roger Dorn from Major League for all of you guys. Michael Emerson. He's from Persons of Interest. 1957, singer Jermaine Stewart. 1964, rapper Eazy-E, Eric Wright. 1966, Toby Jones. You know who Toby Jones is?
No.
A lot of the Marvel people know him as Nami Zula from Captain America. He was the.
Who the heck is that?
Yeah, in 1971, Sugar Shane Mosley. You know, his wife, in a divorce, his wife wants his title belt. I don't know what she's going to use it for, though. Wow. But that's what I got for you in history. I'm sorry we didn't get to the game and all of my pigeons. I had a bunch of pigeons for the people.
It's all right. We had great guests on today.
We had great guests. Yes.
We have to give way to them. And just like I want everybody to know, just like Big Dog said, it's the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yes.
It's not the NFL Football Hall of Fame. NFL don't have anything to do.
Not a damn thing.
It's a whole different entity. It's called the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Some of you didn't know that because a lot of people say the NFL, you in the NFL Hall of Fame, Football Hall of Fame. No, it's not the NFL. It's not the NFL. It's the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Just so you know. Eagles are going to win by double digits. Eagles are going to win by double digits, and DeAndre Swift will run for over 100 yards.
Well, my thing was Eagles will win 30-20, which is 10 points.
That's double digits.
I think DeAndre Swift will have a total of 100+ yards with passing and running. I think we have a committee of running backs that they're going to get the ball to, and they're going to hit them. And then once they start doubling our big guys out on the back end, and then Jalen Mills too, he's going to fall. He's going to bite on a slant and go.
Of course. So listen. You heard it here on A2D Radio, right here at Vetted with Irving Fryar and Big Dog Hollis Thomas. Y'all, we'll see you next week. Actually, let me say this. Next week, our show is on Thursday. The Eagles play Thursday night. So our show will be early next week, like we did a few weeks ago.
Nice.
We're going to air at 12 noon next Thursday. All right, just to give you a heads up, we'll be here at Vetted, A2D Radio, Irving Fryar, Hollis Thomas. Next week, next Thursday at 12 noon. Until then, peace and hair grease.